welcome to the Circus of Crazy, also known as the world. I am your ringmaster, GalaxyOfInk, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit more of this school series that I guess is becoming a thing. First off, before we even start, I'm filming this on a snow day today, a little bit earlier than usual, but there are other people in the house right now, so if you hear anything else in the background, that'd be them. I'm okay, but also just for anything else that happens on the mic that probably won't sound all that great, that's just because there's other people in the house right now, and there's not. Usually I try not to film when there aren't, but kind of can't do that this week. So I am 16 and I am a sophomore. For people, I guess, who don't use that system, I'm in 10th grade. I have 2 years before I graduate high school. And we just had a meeting with my counselor 2 days ago about just where you want to go in the next years, and just, may I say, this is an incredibly stressful process. I guess it never really occurred to me until you really get into it that at 18, in 2 years, or actually earlier than that, you're supposed to decide what college you want to go to, and when you decide what college you want to go to, you're supposed to also decide what your major is going to be. So you're supposed to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life in about a year. And that's, as you can imagine, that's a little stressful. Especially considering if you're at all in tune with the fact that student debt right now is just sky high. It's pretty rough. It's a thing to be thinking about. And basically there's the thought process of, well, why do I even try for a lot of people? And the reason that you have to try is because if you don't have a college degree, you won't get a good enough job. But if you do get a college degree, then you definitely need a good enough job, because you have to have a good job in order to pay off all the student loans you got from getting the college degree that you got in order to get a good job. So, it's a cycle. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that the college debt market is about to pop, just like the housing market did in 2008, and please don't ask me any more about that, because that's about the extent of knowledge that I have of what those words mean. But I know that that might be actually kind of a good thing for me, but it probably won't happen in the next 3 years from when I'm applying to colleges. So scary. There's a lot of community colleges too, is basically the other thing that I learned, is that nowadays, or at least in the area I'm in, it's a lot more. You don't go to a college right after you finish high school. You go to a community college first for about 2 years and do more high school, and then you go to another college, which I don't understand. I don't get it. Aren't you guys, the college is supposed to be the thing after high school? Like, aren't you guys supposed to be the step up? Why do I need to get extra stuff that I can't get done in high school in order to go to college? How are you supposed to do that? I don't understand. I'm really hoping that it's one of those things where it's just, the stress is kind of unbelievable. You know, because when you really sit down to think about it, it's like, okay, well, what happens if I choose something and you go to college and suddenly you find out that it's nothing like you thought it was, and it's a heck of a ton of money to switch majors, or say you're even in a school that's just like specifically specialized and has nothing else that you like, not a good program for anything that you even want to, then you just change schools, which is even more money. That's a stress. Then you also have getting out of school, making sure that even though it's something that you like, it's also something that's going to get you money, because when you get out of school, you're going to have a ton of debt, so you're going to have to figure out how to work around that. Before that, you're supposed to fill out all these crap ton of forms. They're supposed to tell you and swipe off some of that debt, but if you don't do it right, you probably won't. By yourself, and you need to hire someone to have them do that for you, and you have to make sure that that person who you're hiring is good at doing it, because if you don't do that right, you're paying the full amount, which are ridiculous. Also, there's not anything too good for like what I want to go into that's around here that's an actual college besides community colleges, which means I'm gonna also have to factor in traveling costs, or I just leave and never come back, which I guess is also an option. On top of all of that, I've never lived with someone else in my room before, which might get interesting, because, you know, most families do not have the money to afford buying a single dorm. So that's going to be an interesting thing that I also have to do, and I've also never left this house before. I've never lived anywhere else. This room hasn't always been mine, but I've never lived anywhere else other than this house. So that's a little bit of another thing that's going to have to happen. If you go to a college that is in a city, which quite a lot of them are, I've never lived in a city before, so that's a whole new thing. Basically, also, as soon as you turn 18, you just get a ton of other stuff that you're supposed to have done. It's all a very stressful process, and on top of all of that, as people might have realized from some of my other high school videos, there's a lot of talk as soon as you get into, I think, almost every single school. It's pretty insane. From the time that you're able to grasp the fact that there's supposed to be a best time in your life, like after like elementary school or something. Middle school is supposed to be the horrible one. High school, it's supposed to be one of those grand, this is the greatest experience ever moments, which I'm technically about officially halfway through, and it's not. So that's disappointing. So then the next one's college, and everyone is supposed to also say that now it's kind of switching to be that college is supposed to be the one that's the best time of your life, which, it may not be if I have to work all the way through it, am constantly lonely, and have massive anxiety because of the massive amounts of debt that I have. Great. Looking awesome. It's all just very stressful, especially when you consider that, I think a lot of people have the thought that in 12th grade, for people who, haven't applied to colleges recently, adults or anything, I think a lot of adults have the feel that, you apply to college in 12th grade. You don't do that anymore. You do that in junior year, but you're supposed to pick it out around sophomore year. So I'm 15, but I'm on the older edge of the spectrum, so, I'm 16, now, but I'm on the older edge of the 10th graders, so most time 15-year-olds, and that's when we're supposed to start choosing. Which, I don't like it. I don't like it. Especially because when you also factor in the fact that, listen, there's a ton of jobs out there. It's the other thing that as soon as you think that you're in elementary school and you're immediately thought, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be XYZ, I want to be XYZ. You don't know that there's 20 other billion jobs that are directly associated with that main thing that you want it to be. You don't know that at that first age. And when you're kept, I think, to a certain extent, if you don't have the resources to, or if you just don't consider to, which isn't really your fault, to look into some of that other stuff, you miss out on this whole wide range of other things to be doing. I've been in school since I was 3 or 4, and I'm 16 now, so I've been in school for 12 years already. By the time that I graduate, I'll have been in school for 14 years. That's not if I graduate early, which some people, you can also do, but right after that, you're supposed to add another 4 years, so that'll be, I've been in school for, another 2 years for the community college, so that's in school for 16 years, and then another 4 years, and 20 years of my life is just schooling. Which sounds pretty insane when you say it that way, especially considering in a lot of areas like mine, it's not hands-on stuff. So you can choose to take an anatomy class. I'm probably not going to, but, if you want to be a nurse, you can choose different sort of sects of that. And we have some, off-to-college programs that you can travel to and do stuff like that, or you can travel to, certain places. I know there's, a welding thing that you can do. If you want to specifically go into that, they'll send you to a place where you can learn it better. But you can't cover every job like that. But also, most kids don't even get the chance to try. I don't know if I'm good at welding, and I probably won't ever find out, unless I get into some very strange experience where I have to do it. So it's that thing of, you don't know until you try, but you can't really try when I'm in school for 20 years of my life. It's very stressful, and then you get a ton of other boatload of stuff that you get to add on as soon as you become 18. I'm supposed to be able to start driving this year, technically, where I am. You can get a sort of, I can pass my first test so I can get my permit pretty soon. I haven't yet, because my birthday falls very closely around midterms, I think I said to everybody, so I haven't done that yet because I wanted to make sure, because you have to pay money for the test, so I wanted to make sure that I had it all down before I went to go take it. But, as well as paying money for stuff, even as early as, I had a friend who took the PSATs last year, in freshman year, She didn't enjoy it, but it was more of a thing to say, look, let's see where I need areas of improvement to see when I can take this test. So there's also another boatload of tests that you can take that are supposed to give you, like, oh, if you took this test, you can have less money off your tuition, but if you didn't take this test, we're going to add more. I know somebody who took the SATs, PSATs, and a ton of the AP exams, but missed this one other test. And that ended up being, that one test that they missed, they applied to to one of the schools that they really wanted to go to, and because they didn't have the grade for that one test, they weren't accepted, even though they took the test for everything else. So then there's added in that sort of thing of, okay, well, make your list of all of your schools. I think, did everybody hear about, I'll put it in the description, there was a girl who got accepted to all 8 Oxford schools. Good Lord. But, I mean, you have to choose, but, like, also, it's just that thing of you have to make the list of all the schools that you want. On that list, you have to make sure that you check off every single test that is possibly on that list. Because if your first school doesn't want you, then your second school, then you have to go to your second school. And if they have different qualifications, you have to be ready to meet those qualifications as well. So if you have a list of top 10, you're meeting all the regulations for all 10 on the list, probably. And probably a lot of them overlap, but sometimes it might not. That's also factoring in 20 essays, maybe, because I know a lot of schools like an essay to be submitted. It's a lot, and I'm not even applying yet. I just know all this stuff, and I'm very stressed about it, because there's this expectation still, I think, with a lot of parents that it's easy to just, you go to college and you get out of college and you get your job and you go live in your house or whatever, but, like, it's increasingly, I think, for kids our age more, I think we're increasingly seeing that it isn't often like that. It's more often that you might graduate from college and get a retail job for a few more years and have an apartment, and, that house may come further down the line. And it's just, like, it's a lot, I think, is kind of the thing. It's a lot. And it's also, I think, isn't the statistics for psychology that our brains aren't fully developed until 25? I think that's the thing. Well, if you graduate at 18, but you picked your colleges out at 17, that's I'm really bad at math, guys, just in case anybody didn't know. I'm atrocious at math. That's a 8-year difference between what you picked out and, hi, people in the house. That's an 8-year difference between when you picked out your college and what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life to when you're actually fully matured. Which sounds bad again, doesn't it? There's a ton of jobs in the STEM fields that are massively unemployed, but then there's a ton that have way too much. So you can't know that when you're going in, obviously, until you graduate and learn that you might have to go back and learn something else, which is, again, really tough. And, there's always the flexibility of different jobs that are going out of style. As more technology increases, there's always certain jobs that are leaving the market and more jobs that are coming up on the market, and you can't really know those either, and you especially can't know those about 10 years before you actually get one of those jobs, how it's going to look when you graduate for them. So there's another one. It's just, I'm just listing all the stresses. But basically, I think the takeaway is, when I'm looking at it now, actually sitting down and starting to try to do some, research on it, it's just, it all seems so insane that, it just seemed, the system for it all seems very, very broken, that it's not suited, I think, to today. I don't know what it was ever suited for, but it's certainly not suited for today. And it's just, it all seems very insane that all the expectations that you're supposed to meet, but also everything that you're supposed to be thinking about at once. It seems nuts, and it's a lot of money nuts. So that's gonna be it for this anxiety-ridden vent video. If you liked, you may click down below to like or comment. You can click right here to subscribe. You can click right here for some of my other videos. Thanks. Bye!